It's the boogeyman. What's going on, guys? We have another visit to another Trane variable speed system. XV 2017. This is the 18 SEER. It's XV18. Thermostat was in a hard lockout. 18404 fault code with multiple alerts in the history for the low suction pressure cutouts. One tells you it ran multiple times below 50 psi. The other one tells you it ran under 93 psi for longer than 20 minutes. So I've got everything reset, just waiting for the thermostat to call. Then we're going to find out what it's doing. Probably something related to the air handler or sensor or something along those lines. But I want to check the ones out here as well. Alrighty, so I've got this thing finally on and running, reset everything. Already checked my sensors and my transducer outside. Everything is good, but we're running an 80 and a 297 right there. So definitely something going on either with the airflow, or we're dealing with some sensors at the air handler or something along those lines. So I'm going to head under there and start checking a few things out. Alright, we're under here at the air handler. I've cycled everything again. I want to go check some settings on it, and then we're going to start checking some sensors and see if we've got an issue with a sensor being bad. So let's go into our configuration first. I just want to make sure my airflow hasn't been changed. You got to set these at 400 CFM, the variable speed, because that's the baseline for the modulation with the compressor. If somebody comes in here and changes it to 350 CFM or something lower, it's going to throw that off. So yeah, we are set at 400 there, so we're good on all that. I just wanted to, it's usually the first thing I check. Let's see what the settings are. So now we're gonna pop this door off real quick. When you turn it off or turn the power off, and that'll buy me a few extra minutes. I'll be sitting down here waiting for the outdoor unit to come on. Everything in here should be pretty close to the same temperature, so I can slide this thing out and check these sensors. Ohm out the stepper motor as well, which I'm going to ohm it out first while I have the power off. And that is our top strap motor, and yeah, this coil's already been replaced. This is a 2017, 6 years old, so the original coil already sprung its leak, and it's had a new coil in it. And one of the things I have to check is, did this sensor right here that you're looking at right here get put back in the right place? That's your coil sensor with that orange wire. There's only one place it can go. You can't put it on these tubes. It has to go on this one because this one has the capillary tube that comes off the end, and that's going to be your coil. All these feed back to your suction pipe manifold, so if that was put on one of these other pipes, it would be reading the same temperature as this sensor, and then you would have basically a zero superheat across this thing. So you got to make sure that's the only place that the coil sensor can go, is on that tube. And I've done it. You put it on the wrong tube and then you run the thing and it's all wacky. And you just realize that when you change the coil, you didn't put that back on the right location. So remember that if you're changing a TAM coil, put your coil sensor, your orange ET sensor, in the right spot when you put it back together. So let's arm out this stepper motor real quick. It's gonna be gray to all the other colors. So, 48, 47.9. 48, 47.9, and I'm basically just ohming out this common lead against those four across the top: the red, the brown, the orange, or orange and red, yellow and black. Just ohming that stepper motor out to make sure it's good. Pretty much the same as most of the mini splits when you're checking the stepper motors on a mini split. That checked out okay. Now I want to get my readings for these temperature sensors, so I'm going to put the power back on. There it is. And check my DC voltage on those sensors. Let it sit for a minute. So now I'm checking this sensor and this sensor to make sure they're reading correctly, because they'll be measuring the superheat across this evaporator coil when it's running and cooling, and that's one possible thing that can happen if these sensors get out of range, or one of them gets out of range, is reading incorrect measurement, incorrect superheat, and it'll adjust the EEV improperly, and it won't deliver refrigerant correctly, and that will throw one of these systems out of whack really fast. Okay, so my ET sensor is reading 0.8. And my GT sensor, so the ET sensor is the orange. I'm sorry for the shadow. So I'm checking DC voltage right there on those two orange wires. You see I'm getting 0.83, and then when I check the suction line, hold on, temperature sensor, or your gas, what they call the gas temperature sensor, which are these two black wires right there that my leads are into right there. I don't know how well you can see that. Anyway, that one's reading 1.5. So I've got one reading 1.8 and one reading 1.5. but yet they're both connected to the same coil that has no refrigerant flow. So in theory, this coil with no refrigerant flow right now, this whole thing should be roughly about the same temperature from one point to another, plus or minus 2 or 3 degrees. That's showing me about a 30 or 40 degree difference. So let me get the book out, and here we go. So if you look right here, you know, 1.5 volts DC on one sensor, so that's telling me that roughly that coil is about 72 degrees based on the temperature sensor right there. This temperature sensor is telling me that that coil is 104 degrees right there. So you see that one was reading 0.8 roughly. That equates to 106 degrees. The other sensor is reading 1.5, which is roughly about 72 degrees. So this sensor is telling me that this coil is 104 degrees, and I can promise you that coil is not 104 degrees. So that's throwing our range and our readings off, and it's causing the refrigerant not to flow properly in this thing. So let me go get another sensor real quick. All right, guys, so got the new sensor. Got it plugged in. I just need to get it hooked up right there. What I was trying to explain a while ago is this is the only place that sensor can go. Get this insulation off, you'll see what I'm talking about. So this is the one that they call the evaporator temperature, the ET sensor, or your evaporator temperature sensor there. And it can only go on this one pipe with this capillary tube off. This is getting fed refrigerant back through here, and now we're reading your evaporator temperature, kind of like you're looking at your pressures, 125 psi, 38, 39 degree coil, whatever. That's what this is reading. These other pipes are coming back off the coil. It's now gas now, so it's going to connect back here, all 4 of them, maybe 6 on some, 3 on another, but these are going to be all reading the same pressure or temperatures as this one, because they all tie back in to your piping here on your suction side or your low side. So you've got to make sure that if you replace a coil on one of these, don't accidentally connect it to one of these pipes, because it'll be reading the same temperature as this one, which will be goose egg, 0 superheat. It's got to be here to get the correct superheat temperature, and you'll do it. Don't say I didn't warn you. How do you think I figured it out? About 8 or 9 years ago, replaced a coil and fought that thing for about, after I got it up and running, about 2 hours trying to figure out, why is this thing not reading right? Why are my pressures all out of whack? And then realized that I had that in the wrong place and had to figure it out myself, because we didn't have people to call back then. So you learn the hard way, and it seems like you actually learn more and remember more when you learn it from a mistake than you learn it from somebody telling you. So maybe for some of you it'll take making that mistake to remember, oh yeah, I heard that somewhere. And if you're not a Trane dealer or you don't work a lot of Trane equipment, I wouldn't expect you to remember that or think about that. But I guess the rule of thumb is that anytime you're disconnecting some wires and taking things off, a coil, a EV, a stepper motor, whatever, take pictures, make note of where it came from so it goes back in the right place. And things should work out for you okay. So now we're going to put the power back in it. Now we're going to check both those sensors. They should be reading somewhat close. A couple of degrees is no big deal, but we had a 32-degree difference before, and that's no comprende communicating system, no habla temperature difference when a sensor is bad. No comprende, don't understand. So now let's slide this thing back out. Let's check these two sensors again. That one's reading 1.5 now. That's the one I just replaced. It was reading 0.8 volts DC a while ago. Now it's reading 1.5. This one is reading 1.5. So now when we get this thing back on, it should be purring like a kitten. You gotta love it. A $12 sensor takes out a Trane. Alright guys, so we have got this thing up and running, and everything appears at this point to be running fine. We're running about an 8 subcooling right now. It's still ramping up inside. Much better than a 68 suction. Now we're at 116, so it's starting to build up in there. So that's all it was the sensor. I'm not going to charge this guy. The part's under warranty. We just put that evaporator coil in back in July, and he spent some money to do that. Coil was under warranty, but obviously the labor, materials, refrigerant, and you know, all the other things included with doing that, he did have to pay that. So I'm not going to worry him over this little sensor. We can get another one under warranty, and it wasn't much to change, and not a big deal in this grand scheme of things. So anyway guys, that's it. This unit running's fine, and like I said, these are great systems. Those air handlers are good air handlers. If they could, like I said, I've said it before, if they could fix the coil problem with this coil leaks in those things, and I think it's getting better, but still finding them once in a while. But these sensors, there's just so much in this, and you know, some people want it. Some people call and ask for this thing. It's not like we're not out here peddling it to everybody's house we go to. Hey, you got to have an XV unit, got to have an XV unit. You know, we give them their options: base model, 14, 15 SEER, 16 SEER, 2-stage. We don't do 2 stages anymore. We go straight to the XV system. So usually it's a 16 SEER, or it's going to be the XV system on a heat pump model, 18 or a 20 SEER version of it. But I mean, they're good units. And it's just the little things like a sensor that have been the biggest issue. But I like them. I mean, they're worth, I think, I mean, not everybody that installs one or buys one has a problem with it. You know, the videos are made on the ones that aren't working or have a problem. We don't see videos on here for all the ones that are out there actually working. So kind of take it with a grain of salt when you see one of these videos. It doesn't represent these things across the board. Yes, there's a place for them, and there's a place not for them to be. It just depends on the homeowner you're dealing with and the overall big picture of the house that you're looking at, what they're asking for, what they want. But we do have a lot of people that call and ask for these, and if they ask, we will deliver. Not a problem. But anyway guys, like, subscribe, appreciate you watching. Super thanks to support the channel, and we will see you on the next one. You guys have a good one.